Hey guys, I'm back here with another video, but this time I won't be reading a story. This video is one for my fellow writers. If you've watched any videos on writing stories, chances are you've seen a video on showing, not telling. But in case the hundreds of other videos haven't managed to get their message to you, here's another one to add to the mix. Showing and not telling can be tricky at times, but if you learn to recognize where you're telling in your story, it can be easy to change the telling to showing. Here's a simpler one. The dog hates bats. Okay, there are a few problems with this statement. First of all, how much does the dog hate bats? The sentence does not tell us if the dog will do anything to avoid a bath, or if it simply needs to be coaxed into the water. Secondly, we will not be fully convinced that the dog even hates bats until we see it in action. So here's a way to fix the statement. The dog wriggled and whined, desperately trying to escape the grip of its owner. The clear water in the bathtub looked more threatening to him than a spider or even a snake. As he was lowered into the menacing liquid, the dog jumped ferociously at the brim of the tub and would not stop moving until all of the water on his coat was gone. Here, we saw how much the dog hates bats, pretty extensively. We also have been fully convinced that the dog hates these bats. We read what he did during one. This new statement also answers some questions that we didn't necessarily need to know the answers to, such as where the bath was occurring, in a bathtub. Here's one that might be a little more difficult to spot. She could tell he'd been running. It was quite clear to her. How could she tell he'd been running? Also, how are we supposed to believe that it was so clear just by looking at her opinion? Pause the video now if you want to try and fix this sentence yourself. Here's something you could put. Sweat flowed down his face, which was tomato red, and beaded up on his forehead. Breath heavy and coming out in puffs. He was bent over, hands on his knees. Or, over the phone, he panted and huffed. By the way it sounded, she could tell his hand was shaking, suggesting that he'd been running for a long distance. It's really up for debate how you want to change your sentence. You could even personalize it to fit the character. She knew him well enough to know that he got especially angry when he ran. He was throwing pillows around, stomping and grumbling with a red face. Unless he was angry, he rarely grumbled or turned red. Let's try one more. Her face morphed into a sign that she was in pain. How is her face a sign showing that she's in pain? Or what did it look like? How much pain is she in? Can we tell just by looking at her face? How about her lips were pulled back into a tight grimace, sweat beading up on her forehead, eyes squinting so much they were almost closed, every breath forced and labored, she was turning redder every second. Alright, that just about wraps up this brief lesson on showing, not telling. Hopefully, this video will help you show instead of tell in the future. Bye, and happy writing!